This is podcast Coffee People in Middle East by Irina Sharipova. Here I speak with coffee professionals in Middle East, how to grow in the coffee industry, about glory and failure, and also I take opinions about coffee culture, personally from coffee people. Hey everyone, my name is Irina Sharipova. I'm in the coffee industry for 10 years already, now doing QC and education part in Roast Story Roastery in Dubai, UAE. And I'm doing this podcast because this is the best way to know the people behind the industry and understand why the coffee market in Middle East grows, the good and bad sides of the coffee jobs, and why people stay in this industry for ages. We start the sixth episode, Coffee People in Middle East, with Maria Becker Pavani. So she's a certified sensory judge of Specialty Coffee Association and a founder of Tres Marias Coffee. Also, she is a AST trainer and she is responsible of Ali Coffee in Middle East region. Congratulations on your recent product launching. So I'm talking about your oat milk for baristas, and I think it's very trendy right now. And to me, I found oat milk the most healthy regarding the content and how it combines with the coffee and matcha. So could you please tell us how did you came up with the idea with oat milk?
Nice. Thanks, Irina, first for inviting me to be part of this podcast. It is actually my officially first podcast.
Welcome.
So I'm very excited to be here. So yes, oat milk or plant-based milk. This is a project that I had in mind since 2020. I saw that there was an opportunity in the market in the Middle East, a brand from the Middle East focusing on the Middle East market. And to be honest as well, I feel that there is a space around the world for more brands that bring quality plant-based milk, especially for coffee.
Yeah.
Because I think this is a very important point, which is the differential about our product compared with most of the products in the market, is that we are a coffee company making plant-based milk for coffee, right? So it took us 2.5 years to take the project off the paper, from designing the packaging with all the Dubai municipality requirements, plus all the regulations from shipping the product from another country to the UAE, to Saudi Arabia, to Bahrain, Oman, and all the countries that we are at. But it has been a very fun journey, and since August 2022, we have the product available in the market. Right now, we have our other 2 SKUs on the way, which is coconut and almond, which ends the first phase of the project, which is plant-based milk for coffee, being oat, soya, coconut, and almond.
Wow, interesting. So how did you decide to you started with oat milk and then the other 2 flavors, yeah? So are you care about cows, and maybe you're a vegan, and why oat milk for you is a trendy, or you just care about the industry itself?
No, I am a plant-based milk drinker myself. I don't drink cow milk. In fact, I'm very happy that the World of Coffee changed the rules and regulations of the World of Coffee Barista, or the World Barista Championships, and now the baristas are allowed to use plant-based milk or oat milk as an option for the judges.
I think we've been waiting for that for ages. Yeah.
You're right. I was very excited, to see that. The barista championships are changing. That means that that is here to stay, and it's just the beginning. But for us, me personally, I love oat milk, and I only drink oat milk. And I do believe that so far, oat milk is the best version of plant-based milk for coffee. However, we learn in the journey of having a business that sometimes you have to do other things to make sure that you have a business that is financially successful. And for us, we appointed an official distributor for the Middle East and North Africa for this product, and the distributor actually told us that would be very hard for us to go to the market with one SKU or with one product, and they suggested us to work on the other three varieties, and that's what we did. So almond and coconut in specific took us a bit longer to develop because they are both very overpowering when mixed with coffee. And for us, the product was more about how can you perform plant-based milk in the same level as cow milk, where you have a balanced cup of coffee without knowing or without really knowing that coffee is like coconut, right? So that's why it took us a bit longer, but me personally, I love oat, and I still see the numbers, and oat is the number one selling product for us in the brand. But the market is more, there are more tastes in the market, and we have to make sure that we cater for that as well. So,
wow, wonderful. How long did it take you to actually, from idea to actually launching the flavor itself, when to the moment that you realized, so this is the best combo with milk, or with milk with coffee and with other substances, and you're like, okay, now we are ready. Was it 1 month, 3 months, year?
Yeah, so for oat and soya, it was like from the tests and in the first contact with our production line and everything, probably 2 years.
Wow.
And then for coconut and almond, it took us 3 years. So here we are, 3 years later from the first time that we, first had the idea until really bringing it to actions or to the product itself. It took us a good, 3 years.
So you must have been very patient because, to wait for the launching of your own products, I think you have to be patient and very, ready to wait until the right moment to launch the product, to be without any mistake, right? So what made you to be like patient and not to give up, not to quit? Okay, I'm done. I don't want to do this project anymore. Did you face some of these problems during the production?
A bit, a bit. It was at some point I was just like, maybe this is not going to happen, but I don't know. I just felt that we have to always focus on the bigger picture, right? So regardless of which product we're going to have, or if the growth of the business or whatever it is, or life in general, I feel that if we focus on the bigger picture and we go step by step, and we acknowledge every step that we conclude, and the new step that we are starting, I feel that in the end of the day, it's easier to be patient because you know that you are progressing, and you know that you are going on the right direction, and it's just a matter of time for you to reach there, but you are going there, right? And sometimes there are things around us, business, life, market, COVID, whatever it is, right, that comes in the way. And that shouldn't stop you, right? It should be just one more stone in the floor for you to collect and throw away and take out of your way. So, I think this is what we did. We went step by step. We acknowledged all the little wins that we had, in the process. And when the product came to life and we started selling and it was in the market, we were like, yes, it was very much worth it, And now there are other problems on the way, or here that we have to kind of understand how to overcome. But I think that's business in general, it's never it's never ending. Like there is no point that you reach and that's it. You always have to keep innovating, keep pushing, keep seeing, what is the next step.
Yeah, exactly. Even if you have one product or two, it's not like you throw something in a business and just you're waiting for money. No, you just need to take care as a living organism, right?
Yes, 100%, 100%. Not only that, there are competitors, or other players in the market, right? I never say competitors because, I think that competition, there is always a win and a lose, and and in the market, we don't really have, the rules of saying that this is a loss or this is a win. It depends from business to business. And for us, we have a very clear vision on where we want to go. And, we focus a lot on our business and our direction. And we kind of work hard every day for that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, very, very happy for you. So this is amazing that what you've done with your product, and I wish you like very good luck and to be successful with this product. And
Thank you.
I can't wait to try it actually.
I brought
And
some for you.
yes, and also for our listeners, we will have a giveaway,
Nice.
and we will spread out information on my Instagram, but about it later on. So now, of course, I'm curious about your coffee path, especially that you're from Brazil. The country is number one of exporting coffee, so and very famous one. Could you share with us the first experience with coffee which you had, and how come that you started to work with coffee?
Nice. Yes, I was 18 years old and I left Brazil. My mom left Brazil when I was 12, and she went to Portugal to finish her studies, her master's and PhD. And when I completed 18 years old, she thought it would be a very nice idea for me to travel and see the world. I come from a very small town in Brazil where everybody knows everyone, and there is no much that you can explore in your career. It's pretty much set. Is that life that's set for you from the time you're born? And my mom thought would be good for me to see the world. And when I completed 18 years old, she invited me to go to live in Portugal with her. And I left Brazil, and I was studying, and to help my mom to support my life in Europe, I started working as a barista, making not specialty coffee, like commercial coffee. And apart from that, I was drafting beers and like all of cleaning, washing dishes, and everything else that comes with a job. And then after 3 years in Portugal, I left back to Brazil. I went back to Brazil, and I applied to work in a specialty coffee shop in the capital of my state, which is a bigger city. And I started working with them. And after 3 months, they were like, oh, you know what? We are actually opening a roastery, and we would like you to be the manager of the roastery. It is pretty much explaining about specialty coffee to the clients that come to buy coffee machines for home, brewing kits for home, or simply to have a better fresh roasted coffee for their houses. And that was my first interaction with specialty coffee. So in Brazil, we cannot import green coffee from other countries, right, to support our national production. So we understand a lot about how the varieties of Brazilian coffee can be, right? So how a yellow that's how we do. So here, for example, we learn how to differentiate an Ethiopian coffee from a Brazilian coffee. In Brazil, we kind of learn how to differentiate a yellow bourbon from a red catuai, or a catura, or whatever it is. So so it was a really, really interesting experience for me. It was the first time that I saw coffee as a craft product rather than a product in the supermarket where you buy together with your rice or whatever. And that was my first officially experience. And then after that, I never stopped. I got an offer to come to Dubai. My first job here was as a head barista for a 5-star hotel. My first salary in Dubai as a barista was $300. That was in 2014. Yes, and since then it has been a journey, I would say.
Yes, of course, and it's still going on. But did you try coffee in your childhood? Because to me, in my imagination, in Brazil, everyone drinks coffee, and every family has maybe their own coffee method. I don't know. Can you tell us something about Brazilian traditions?
Yes, of course. Well, I think in Brazil, I still remember, like, from my grandmother house, I have beautiful memories. We have a family beach house in our small town, and we would spend a lot of time with my grandmother there. And I still remember, like, every morning, her first thing when she wakes up was to heat up the water, and then we have a coffee in Brazil that's called Três Corações, which means 3 hearts, and is the most popular coffee for home users. And she would literally open the bag, take the spoon of coffee, put on the cloth filter. In Brazil, it's very common, the cloth filter. So instead of, it's almost like a Calita or a V60, but instead of paper filter, it's a cloth filter.
Reusable.
Yes. After that, you wash and put back on the fridge. Yeah, it's funny. And actually, the taste is very interesting. It gives you like a very a bold kind of like profile. So I remember, like, my grandmother heating up the water, putting spoons on the cloth filter, and then brewing the coffee on a therm, and then that coffee would sit there for the whole day until it's finished. So every time that someone in the house needs coffee, you go there, you open the therms, and you put on your cup, and then you put, I don't know, 3 spoons of sugar so the coffee can be drinkable. So that's what I remember about coffee.
And people in Brazil, they are still doing that. It's not
yes. I mean, right now it's changing. Every time I go home now to Brazil, I feel, even my father now, that was the way that my father would drink coffee. But today my father, he goes and he buys a more premium coffee in the supermarket, and he brews, as he goes, as he needs the coffee. So the coffee doesn't stay sitting there for, a whole day. So things are changing. And I think the specialty coffee industry has been growing as well, which of course the biggest players in the market wanted to be part of that as well, right? So they're making specialty coffee more accessible in supermarkets for the Brazilian families to try. So I think slowly it is changing.
Wow, I wish I was in Brazil once.
You're very welcome to come. I'm going in June, so you are very welcome to join me.
Okay. Do you have some funny stories at the beginning of your coffee career as a barista? So, of course, you had your family memories, which you shared, which is very nice and lovely and sweet. But maybe you had something that you came up with, like when you start to be as a barista, like maybe some weird customers or some strange drinks you had to do. Do you have some in your mind?
The first thing that comes to my mind is maybe in 2015, plant-based milk started to become trendy here in Dubai, and we were working behind the bar, and people would like, "Oh, can I have an almond cappuccino?" And I would hate it to do it because at that time, plant-based milk wasn't really a thing, so there was no really brands doing it correctly. So every time someone would order, I would steam it, just like I was so mad. Yeah, so mad. Like, why? I wanted to do latte art. I wanted to do,
I think it was also era of snobbery people,
Yes.
When someone asks you sugar or extra milk or extra hot, and you're like, no, I'm above this. Yeah. I think there was some time.
I think at the beginning of your career, you think like that, but the more you go into it, you understand that people should have the freedom, to love coffee in the way they do, and your job is to make sure that you put the best out there. But then, it's up to people on how they want to react to that. There is another funny story is when I came from Brazil, I started putting a lot of makeup. Every morning I would wake up and go to work full makeup. And then one day, there was a lot of clients that they would come regularly at 8 a.m. in the morning. And then, someone, I think a guy was in a bad mood one day, and he came, and I was like, "Hey, good morning." And he's like, "Where are you going? Are you going to a party or something? Why are you all full makeup?" And I was like, "Oh, girls, that's not nice, And so that was a weird story. Not funny, but a weird story as well that I remember.
Yeah, I see. Well, thank you for sharing. And I have a question. How did you realize that this is the industry and the coffee field which you want to be in, to devote your whole life? Did you have a gut feeling? So this is the place where I meant to be.
Yeah, a very interesting question. I always knew where I wanted to be in life. I always knew where I want to, go, and in 10 years from now, what I want to look like, and, what people want around me, and what life I want to have. And I think when I started working with coffee, it was, for me, it was like, I love this industry. I love the community behind this industry. I love that's a very active industry, right? I can travel the world for championships, for exhibitions. We have a national chapter, and all of that. There is always something new happening. But of course, I understood that for me to reach the level of life that I wanted for me, I could not, just be a regular barista behind the bar. unless it was my own coffee shop. But then if it's my own coffee shop, anyway, I started understanding a bit of the industry in all the aspects. And this is what I always tell, to people that ask me about their career or coffee in general, like, how do I know where to go? And I say, you have to try a bit of everything. Mm-hmm. Right, you have to try a bit of barista work. You have to try a bit of. You have to go to a coffee farm, not for the pictures for Instagram, but for you to really see what is behind, harvesting coffee and processing coffee, for your own knowledge. And then I became a Q grader. I became an AST. I traveled to different countries in South America, in the Middle East to do courses. So I tried a bit of everything. Then I run a business. And I was like, okay, you know what? I actually love the industry. I'm not going anywhere. But I would like to explore more the side of me being an entrepreneur and how can I use, my coffee skills to reflect in a successful business. Mm-hmm. But before I reached to that stage, of course, I had to understand the industry as it a whole. That eventually helped me a bit more on my business. So I don't want to go anywhere. I think I love working with coffee. And I love that the industry is so big that you can, change your direction anytime you want. And you keep learning and you keep evolving as a professional. So, yes, I have no doubt that, coffee, at least for now and for the past 12 years, is my thing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, especially with the thing that if you want to be successful in some of the field, you need to know all steps behind it. To be the barista, as a waiter, floor manager, everything you have to know. Yeah. So the more details you know, the more successful you will be. That I completely agree with. I also have a question, like what made you to be with the entrepreneurship? So did you finish any studies or business classes, or how, or you just like realized, okay, I'm going to do my business, or how come?
No, I never studied to be an entrepreneur, but I do have very strong leadership skills, and I think that's one of the top three. It is one of the top three characteristics of a leader, of an entrepreneur. Sorry. I will rephrase that. So I do have very strong leadership skills, which for me, I see as one of the top three characteristics of an entrepreneur, right? You have to be a leader because you are the one pushing the business. You are the one bringing ideas. You are the one implementing ideas. You are the one inspiring the team around you to become better and push for, your vision. So once I understood that, I didn't really want to work for any other company. And I still remember my business partner. I have a business partner, a very wise man. And he told me, I have no questions about your love and your passion and your dedication and your level of professionalism for coffee. But there is a very big difference between being a coffee professional and running a successful coffee business. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, it's the same thing as being a dentist and being a very good dentist, but then running a clinic with other dentists, right? Mm-hmm. Your job is completely different. It's a new skill set that you have to have. And once he told me that, it kind of clicked to me and I understood, although I love coffee is going to be always everything in my mind because my business is coffee. But at the same time, I have to start developing my skills as an entrepreneur. Have people around me that can help me on that journey the same way as I did with coffee 12 years ago, right? What are the steps that I can take in this industry that will help me to become the best version of a coffee professional that can be? So the same thing I started doing 3 years and a half ago, and I started the Tres Marias Coffee. And so far it has been a process, right? It's and again, there is never an end because every time that you unlock a new level, that you finish a level, you unlock a new level, and then you need a different skill set to be able to complete the next level. So it has been a journey. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Great words. I'm already inspired. Also, the other question is, you said already that you have a partner in your business, right?
Yes.
So how did you find him, or it was like a fate that many events happened in your life and you met up with the person, or maybe you had already some mentor who helped you to work with the other one?
No. So my business partner and I, we met through a friend, a common friend of mine here in Dubai. She was the one who introduced us. I was preparing the business plan and all the, starting point of Tres Marias, and my friend was like, well, I have a friend who is looking to invest in a coffee business. Why don't you meet him? And I met many people, and especially in Dubai, it is quite easy to find people to join venture with you on your business. But for me, it was not about the money, or it wasn't about anything, but my business partner should be the person who is going to help me to get where I want to be, where the company have to be. And for that, I had certain requirements that I needed from that partner, right? It has to be someone with more experience in business than myself. So when I have questions and when I have, to take a direction, he could potentially guide me to do that. Plus, so it was faith, because I believe that he's the right partner for Tres Marias, but also I chose him to be my partner because I knew that he could help us to take the right decisions and enable the right opportunities when the time comes.
Wow, very very happy for you. It's nice.
Thank
because
you.
It's very important to have a partner. Yeah, it's not about money, it's about the same values as well. If you share the same values, if you're like on the same page regarding the life vision, I think it's
Correct.
not about, because to find money, it's like, yeah, as you mentioned, like in Dubai, you can easily have a loan or someone who can give you money. But if we speak about partnership, if we speak about growth, it must be a right person, right?
Yes, I agree with you. You said something important. I think sharing the same values is very important, because when the right values or the same values are on place, everything else falls into the same place, right? Because based on, if you have a situation where the situation might be a bit tricky, if the values are the same, regardless of the outcome of that situation, it will be always respecting the values of both partners, right? And I think that's very important.
Yeah, exactly. Also, making a business is about the team, right? So it's not about partners. So how did you find your first employee? Do you remember that moment?
Yes. Yeah. Well, today we're 15 people
Wow.
at Tres Marias office. We just recently hired a brand manager based in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia, which is really exciting. It's our first international
Congrats.
team member. So he's here in Dubai actually now for a week for training, and I'm going to Riyadh with him for a week on Friday. But yeah, finding your team is really, really challenging because, it is almost everything has to be on the same tune, right? Because people have their goals to their lives, and you have to make sure that your company is supporting that life goals of team members. Otherwise, they're not gonna stay with you, right?
Yeah.
Because working for a startup is also not easy.
Yeah.
You especially in the beginning, you are hired to do one job and you have to do 100 jobs. So I think it was really challenging, and it is very challenging to find the right people for the right position. And at some point we started hiring people and then firing within 3 months, or they would leave in 3 months, and we understood that there is a process that we have to go through to really understand if what are the type of person that we need for this position, and what is this position offering to that person goal, career or life plans, or
It's
because
very sustainable thoughts.
yes, because otherwise you're going to waste your time, and you're going to waste a year of your business and your development of a person, and then things are not going to be really connected. So for us, we was like, okay, you know what, let's go step by step. Maybe we don't have to grow as much as we were trying to grow, but we're going to build our foundation very solid, and then eventually when growth comes that we cannot stop, our foundation is going to be very strong, and it's going to be easy for us to build on the top of it. So that's what we have been trying to do now. We do have 2 new team members that recently joined, but apart from that, our our team, all of them are with us for 3 years, 2 years. I have 2 team members, 2 colleagues that they are employee number 1 and number 2 of the company. So they stay with us. We try to create an environment where people can grow and they can become leaders as well. So they can create more leaders, and they can take decisions for themselves, and we trust their decisions. This is the goal when it comes for building a team, is literally finding the right people that are looking to what Tres Marias has to offer.
Yeah, wow, yeah. So you also running Eli Coffee and Middle East, North Africa region. So could you tell us like your opinion about green coffee market in this particular region? What differs you, like, okay, as a salesperson, because you sell green beans, what's unique about our market here?
Relationship. I think the answer for that question is relationship. I remember like in 2014 or 15 when the market was just coming to become a thing. Whoever had the secret of sourcing green coffee, roasting, they could run successful businesses. And then of course after that the market started to become a bit more mature. Because coffee machine became accessible, green coffee became accessible, plus. But I think in the end of the day, business is business. In my opinion, business are built and relationships, right, in trust. Especially in this region, UAE or Saudi Arabia, which is also one of or the biggest market for us as Eli Coffee. I think it's all about the relationships you build and how you look after your clients' needs and growth. Because you become a partner in the end of the day, right? Because your client succeeding with the raw material, with the green coffee, means that you are going to be selling more. So you have 100% interest in making sure that he's succeeding, so you can get your business and you have a healthy relationship with your client. So for the Eli Coffee, we started in 2019. I worked myself with the brand until middle of last year, and then we decided that we reached a certain level where we need someone that's focusing mainly in sales, so I could take care about developing more different markets, more opportunities, and taking care of the relationships we have created. So we have a new colleague taking care of sales as a sales executive, opening new doors and taking care of the doors that we are already inside. But I think Eli is very strong with first of all building an international team, right? Because we have offices in Brazil, in Germany, in the US, in Colombia, in Guatemala. So we are everywhere. So
that's a huge company.
Yeah, so I learned so much with them as well, right? They inspired me so much as a business, and I'm very grateful that I am Eli Middle East, and we try to do the best we can, grow as much as we can, and learn from them as much as we can, and develop the business, build relationships, and feed the market with whatever is the need.
Interesting. So Tres Marias, it's about selling roasted coffee. Eli Coffee, it's about green beans. So what is the difference between those two companies? Because you have definitely you have two visions, yeah? How to sell greens, how to sell roasted. Can you tell us?
I think with Tres Marias, it's my vision, right? It's my company. I literally built the brand from zero, and with Eli Coffee, we are part of a vision. Right, so Eli is almost like an arm of Tres Marias, where it runs by itself with its own vision, with our capacities of coffee professionals.
Yeah, and Eli has an image already, right?
100%. Eli is, they are very strong, and it's part of a group in Brazil called the Monte Santo Tavares Group. Monte Santo Tavares Group is the second largest exporter of Brazilian coffee, right? And having that said, you mentioned earlier, Brazil is the largest exporter of coffee in the world. So, that means something. The infrastructure that goes behind, running a sustainable business on that size is huge. It's something that very few people in the coffee world can imagine, especially when you don't have access to, such experience in going and seeing with your own eyes. But yes, so far I have been running the business for the past 3 years, and and it has been, Maria and Ally Coffee. But now we are trying to expand and try to, just grow a bit the team and spread a bit the name.
Wow, wonderful. So besides coffee business, I want to ask you about coffee competition. So you are a sensory judge now. Have you ever competed, by the way?
No, I don't think I can compete. I honestly speaking, sometimes, oh my God, sometimes I'm judging and, I feel like crying, because I feel I empathize so much with, the competitor. And it's a very humbling moment to be in front of them, and they prepared for so long, and they have everything, every minute, every second, and you were there, experience that moment with them, and I feel like, oh, I'm so lucky to be here, but I don't think I can be on the other side of the table.
So as far as I know, you are certified for brewers and barista, both, right?
No, for the world stage, I'm certified for barista, but I judge latte art nationally. I judge brewers, and I mean, I have been quite busy with the business. I wish to have more time to apply, but I have made the commitment to judge 3 international competitions per year. To make sure that I'm always connected with the community and
to maintain your skills at least.
Correct. Always to see what is new out there, right? Always know what's happening. I think it's very important. But I judge brewers, I judge latte art, and I judge barista. I love judging brewers. Actually, it's a very fun competition. You get to drink some awesome coffees. I love filter coffee anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big honor. Sometimes competitors, they have only 100 grams of coffee and you only one who is drinking that one on the stage. Yes, it's a big honor. So do you have any advice for listeners? What is the advantages to be as a judge?
I think for me, what I love about being a judge is really getting the opportunity to judge the best out of a country, right? Because when the barista comes to the world stage, they came already as the best out of a country. So you are actually getting to see literally the best people in your industry to perform and serve what their vision of the best coffee is. So I think that for me, it opens my mind so much, right? Because when you judge, I was in Milano in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, and I got to judge the Kenyan competitor, the US competitor. I got to judge a few others, and they are so different from each other, right? The way that they present and the coffee that they are presenting, and their skills level, right? So I think it's a very interesting. It's a very interesting moment for you to understand exactly how the coffee world can be so different, even though we're talking about the same industry and the same product. Apart from that, being part of the community, I think for me it's very important, right? Because I try to find meaning for everything that I do, right? I don't just do things for doing it. And I work for this industry, right? Either if I'm having my own business now, I worked for 10 years for the industry itself. So I think it's important that you are part of it and you are present and you dedicate time and because you take out time of your time that you could be traveling, you could be with your family, but you decided to buy a ticket and go to Athens to judge the world stage, So it's important to be present. In the end of the day, the industry only moves forward because people are investing time and education. So you should be part of that too. And I think that's very important.
Yeah, I agree. Because some people, maybe they think, just judge coffee, it's about drinking good coffee. No, actually, it's about people who move the industry. Yeah.
Yes.
Because without people, even, I'm not speaking only the judges, also volunteers.
100%.
Organizers, baristas who are competing, visitors as well. Yeah.
Yes. You're right. I think everybody involved in the industry is 100% there because they want to be part of that, without each one of us, the events doesn't happen. There is nothing. So it's important that, if this is your industry, you should take care of it. And you should, even though you're busy doing your own life and everything else, in the end of the day, you should, for me, I see it like, I should invest this time because this is the industry I work for. So
Yeah, it's truly about passionate people who are definitely involved in the industry. So we are like everywhere, right? So we are judging, we are visiting coffee events, recording podcasts. Yeah, because we are making the industry. Yeah, if
You're
you are
right.
doing something, you will definitely have a profit. Even judging or like having a podcast or etc. etc. It's non-profit, but it will be profit for you as a person, like a professional wise, and because some people they think about money sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's not about money. It's about the industry, and it will give you rewards. Definitely,
Yes.
definitely. If you do something for industry,
Yes,
it will
100%.
give you back. Yes.
Correct. And as people as well, like there are different parts of ourselves, right? That is what we do for money. That can be also, if it's coffee, it's your work. But there are other elements of us as people that we should also, grow and take care, which is being part of an industry, feeling that we are there for a purpose. It's
Yeah.
not just about the money, it's having a purpose, right? What is our purpose in this industry? Is to really just make money out of it, or is to actually, push the industry further and add value to whatever we can add value
Sure.
with. So
Sure. So I want to ask you about judging as well. One more question. Also about some funny moments or not funny moments. Do you have some stories you can recall?
no,
Maybe some challenges.
You know what? I'm a very I express a lot with my face, so being on stage is always very challenging. And I remember, I think in 2017, 16 or 17, a national championship here in the United Arab Emirates, that the competitor forgot the milk.
Oh.
And then I think he started running to get the milk, and he came all the way back sweating and all, like with the bottle of milk. And I was like, I showed just a smile. I stand still.
Yeah, you
and
need to be supportive.
you
Just
know
like-
but in the end I didn't want to laugh. I want to clap, because that going back to the question you asked me before, if I compete, hell I do not, because if this happened to me, I don't know what would be my reaction. But the fact that he started running and he came all sweaty and he finished his milk a beverage with milk and he served it, I was like, man, I would clap for you if I could right now. And apart from that, I think in Milano I got to judge the United States champion, Andrea, and it was a very touching presentation, especially coming from a business owner, being there, and touching the point of hospitality. I think was a very, very powerful presentation in my opinion, and I had to hold my tears in my eyes. Especially it was a very, very nice. I think the best presentation that I have seen on my years of judging. And the coffee was amazing too. So it was, an overall super dope experience to be part of. But yeah, that's as much as I can remember.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any random advice for future competitors of coffee competition? What would you suggest them to do?
I think people underestimate the power of being themselves. And I think when you're on the stage as a competitor, you should find that thing that make yourself different as a competitor, right? As people, whatever is the the theme that you're using for your presentation. But I think competitors, of course, they have 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And is it 15 minutes?
For barista, 15.
Yeah. Okay,
For
good. For
brewers,
brewers
10.
10. Okay. Oh, look at me. Oh my God. Rules and regulation. I'm sorry, SCCA, if you're listening to this. So for baristas, you have 15 minutes. Where you have to deliver everything that you have been training for years, and I think being yourself is exactly what we're trying to. It helps. Because in the end of the day, you are a human being, and you are presenting to a
Real
human
life
being.
situation. Nobody reads it between lines in rules and regulation. It must be real life.
Correct. Make sure that you follow the rules and
Yes.
regulation, and it's 15 minutes. But but apart from that, bring that element and be yourself. What makes you different than the other 50 competitors, apart from your amazing coffee. Like what else? And apart from that, I know it's very difficult to relax, and you are under pressure and everything else. But I feel that when you do things with purpose, it's just a matter of time for the best result to come. So be yourself, practice and train as much as you can, and good luck.
Yeah, wow. Inspirational words, guys. So, I have a question about future of coffee. Do you have any view on that?
It's interesting question. I think we're gonna start to see a different approach to coffee very soon. That involves technology, right? That involves we have different generations now that have been super involved in coffee. So we have seen a difference between how coffee consumption is actually. It has been performing, right? For example, the change of commercial coffee to specialty. These are, two generations behavior kind of like, emerging. So I think we're gonna start to see different varieties of species of coffee accessible very soon. I think we're gonna see a lot of technology. As new coffee machines, automation, way of drinking coffee. Maybe perhaps not coffee shops, but coffee delivered within 15 minutes, and stuff like that. So I think a lot of technology is gonna be the center of the future of coffee. And not a very soon future, but a very close future, I feel.
Yeah. Well, if we speak about Dubai itself, it's a great market. What, in your opinion, is missing, or maybe you have something to change in this industry?
The coffee industry in Dubai?
Yes. In Dubai.
I think the industry here is very new, right? We have our first player of specialty coffee maybe in 2009. And then it started becoming, a thing. And then we have another roastery here, another roastery there, and then coffee shops, and now green coffee traders, and now all the coffee machine brands are here. So the industry is evolving, and it's getting stronger. And I started to feel that, more coffee brands with personality and with a voice are actually come to play in this industry, which is extremely important, right? Because, for example, Tres Marias, for me, why did I curate Tres Marias? Because I wanted to explore myself as an entrepreneur, but also because I felt that, there are other ways to speak about coffee than being black and white and, having a roastery and, that business model that it's applied for every single coffee business in the industry. So I think as the industry is getting stronger and a bit harder as well, right? Because the more competition you have, for you to succeed, you have to really think outside of the box, right? So for me to succeed, it's not about having a coffee machine and buy green coffee anymore, right? I have to perhaps have a community. I have to foster a community that, will consume my products and will support my growth. I have to perhaps think about, in my case, I thought about, how can I include more people into my coffee community, right? Because not everybody wants to drink coffee as an espresso. But perhaps if the espresso is in a popsicle, in an ice cream, it would be easier for them to try, So just asking yourself questions, in my case, right? Like, how can I add more value and add more people to this industry? So I think, I would love to see more of that, like instead of same thing as usual, what else can we do as an industry to really add value to, this growth and kind of like put more fire to this,
Yeah, exactly. If you have some company, it pushes you like as an entrepreneur. If you don't have competitors around you and any other players, what will you do? You will be like sit and wait. But you see, like you have to grow yourself. You have to push yourself daily.
100%.
You can't just sit and sell coffee. Right?
Yes. Yesterday I was in a business meeting, with one of our colleagues in the industry, and he was like, "Yes, Maria. Well, you're so active." And I said, "Guys, what did you expect? You run a business. If you don't want to be active, if you don't want to be innovative, if you don't want to take a risk, then do not run a business." But running a business, in my opinion, with my experience, is and I might change in 5 years, after seeing something that I haven't seen yet. But for me, it's all about what is next.
Yeah.
Because at the first time that you stop moving, you are someone already is ahead of you.
Exactly.
So you have to keep moving 24/7, thinking, brainstorming, pushing, talking to people, exploring opportunities, opening new markets, creating new products. Otherwise, you're just gonna become another one.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's also pushes me. I love your thoughts and your approach. Is there someone in the industry, not necessarily in Dubai, in the world, maybe not coffee, who is the role model for you? Like who you take inspiration from? Maybe some leadership person or in the coffee industry. Can you share someone?
When I was growing my career, I remember in 2016, I went to the World of Coffee in Ireland. And I went to see the exhibition, but I was, judging the national championships in the UAE already, and I was thinking about how I'm going to become a world barista judge. And I remember watching Elizabeth Sereno from Spain.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, I was with her now in Saudi last month. Last year in October for the Saudi National Barista Championships, and I was looking at her and I was like, yes, I would like to be as good as her. I would like to sit on that table, and I would like to be, to look professional, and she's an inspiration for me as a woman in the industry, as a judge. And I remember that when I achieved my goal of becoming a judge, I wrote her a message, and I said, you inspired me to get where I am today. So thank you for that. And I think sometimes this is for everybody listening, actually. Sometimes we don't really realize, but we inspire a lot of people around us when we truly, genuinely do what we love, and we do from the heart, and we do without thinking about what is going to come out of that. But you just do because, again, you are doing for yourself, and that has a power that people underestimate, which is literally being yourself and doing what you love. So Elizabeth inspired me to become a certified judge. And in business, I have many inspirations in the UAE that probably is not part of our community. My partner and his brother, if you guys are listening, they inspired me every day as well. Business people with the same values as I aspire to have for myself and for the business. So I normally try to have people around me that inspire me every day. With the way that they are, with their friends, family, approach for business, approach for life, and so ever. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially I think everyone knows, but really you have to be surrounded by inspirational people who you will grow with and who will help you to grow and who is actually stronger than you, I think, in my opinion. Yeah.
Everybody has different strengths. I think it's important that we point that, one of my friends, she inspires me so much to get closer to my family, for example. Right? When, on the routine here in Dubai, it becomes, quite intense for you to take care of so many aspects of your life. But for me, for example, she's an inspiration on, what I should do with my family. And because of that, I started putting goals for me. I should speak to my family, at least once a week via video, and I should speak to them every day on a call for 15 minutes. And another friend inspired me to actually go to the gym every day and lift 2 kilos heavier every day, and another friend inspired me to, maybe be more active on the dating scene because she's all out there, So every person around you will have its own strength and will inspire you in a different way, not in regards to business only. And I think finding that group of people is challenging, not easy. There is a lot of trial and error, but once you do, you make sure that you take care of them and keep them close to you.
Yeah, wow, it inspired me already, of course. I think everyone has something good to share with people. And also, you just need to have the conscious approach in your life and listen to people. Maybe you don't realize that someone nearby you, as you mentioned before, is already inspiring you, but you don't realize it. You haven't realized it yet that that person who you met 2 years ago in the coffee expo, he said something to you and you're like, oh my God, it was the aha moment, life-changing moment, right? You just need to think sometime, reflect, what happened? Well, let's move on. I want to ask you about your nearest goal in the coffee field. Any other projects in your mind? Which you can share, of course.
Okay, that I can share. Maybe not really, but I have like we're expanding now, right? I mentioned earlier that we have now the full category for plant-based milk. We are creating other plant-based milk product that is part of the coffee industry that's going to be probably released by summer. And apart from that, we have a very big project that we have been working on that we should have seen that coming to life, the first pilot within 2 weeks from now, and probably within a year, it should be a pretty big news for the brand and for the coffee industry in the UAE and also Saudi Arabia. But that's still a bit on a very young phase. So I would rather not. Yeah, well, okay. I would rather have another session of this podcast just to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because it's a very interesting project, but at this moment, to be honest, is on that part that I'm taking out from my brain and actually turning into something. So it's still in a very young phase, but we again, business is all about keeping moving, right, and developing new ideas and developing new markets and finding the right people. So every day there is something new at Tres Maria. So
I'm intrigued already. So guys, please follow Maria, and she always has something in your mind. Nice. So besides coffee business, coffee industry, you're a very active person. I admire how far you went here in UAE. Besides coffee business, what do you do in your life, in your free time?
All right. So my routine is I wake up every day at 5 a.m. in the morning. I have a board on the top of my bed with the picture of the 4 pillars of my life, which is my family, right? So I have 2 brothers, I have a nephew, I have my mom and my father. And then which occupies a very big space, in my routine as well, especially now that I'm a bit more conscious about spending time with my family in this long distance relationship, I would say, which is my relationship with my family. So I dedicate a lot of time for that. And then on the second pillar is Maria, as Maria, right? So I dedicate a lot of time in developing good relationships for me, in developing my networking for business, for future opportunities, for friends, and spending time with friends, the people that inspire you, right? So I play paddle with them, for example. I love playing paddle. I go to the gym where I have also my community of girls that every day are there, inspiring me to be better at the gym. I try to go a bit more social out as well, dress up, go with dinner with friends.
Live life.
Exactly. And a bit, and just have fun with friends. And then apart from that, I try to listen to a lot of podcasts as well. So I do listen to a lot of YouTube channels about business, about self-development, about...
I'll ask you to send me something.
Yes, of course. I
also love podcasts.
Yes,
because we drive a lot here in UAE.
I know. Yes, actually, every day in the morning when I go to the gym, when I'm driving to the gym, I go listening to something. And I think it's an excellent opportunity, and because in the end of the day, we should never stop learning. So what do? I travel for coffee. I travel to see my family. I travel very little for pleasure. I always have pleasure seeing my family and coffee, but I wanted to do more of that. I recently started my fitness journey, right, where I lost 20 kilos. So I'm still adapting to my new self, my new routine, my new habits. I think this year started quite strong in a sense that I feel that I feel myself on my new body and my new persona, which feels amazing. But of course, that change took a good 2 years for me to really, this is the new me. So dedicate time to my family, dedicate time for, developing myself as a person, business, as a person, as Maria, spending time with friends, good friends that care for me and I care for them. So that's what I do. A lot of sports, a lot of coffee, a lot of learning. That's my life.
Wow, sweet. So, and the last question for today, do you consider yourself as a coffee hero?
Yes, I do. I do. My hero. I am my own hero. I think I have done everything that I wanted as a coffee professional, and that came with a lot of work, a lot of dedication, a lot of focus. It was my whole 20 years pretty much, right? Dedicated to become a sensory judge, become an AST, become my own, my own CEO. And I don't know if I'm the hero for other people, but I'm definitely my own hero. I changed my life and through coffee, and I'm very happy, that I never gave up. So yes, I am my own coffee hero.
Wow, fantastic, fantastic. So Maria, thank you so much. I found this conversation very inspirational, motivational, and I hope our listeners also did find it as well. And thank you so much for having your time with me.
Of course, thank you. Let me thank you, Irina. For first of all putting this coffee podcast, to life. I think it's a great platform for coffee people to listen to stories like mine and other colleagues that you have interviewed, because sometimes everything that we need is that word that clicks and give us that inspiration. So I hope that all the best for you and welcome to the UAE.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for bringing this platform to the community, and thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And this was Coffee People in Middle East podcast. Thank you so much for the listening. Bye. Thanks for the listening. If you enjoy those conversations as much as I do, consider supporting my podcast. The best support from you would be your likes and sharing of my Instagram page, or if you buy coffee from Raw Story directly from me. And if you need any education program, either SEA certification or coffee consulting for your coffee shop, please hit me up.